Ilara's face went pale. They put the ship on autocourse. Once the engines go full power, no one survives. Jace said, then we need to get off this ship now. Ilara shook her head. No. If we run, they'll do it again. To someone else. We finish this. We turn this ship around. Her father looked at her proudly. You've become more than I ever imagined. But before they could move, boom. A hidden door burst open. A full Dravok kill squad entered the room, armor-clad, heavy weapons ready. Ilara stood in front of her father, rifle raised. Get behind me. The aliens fired. She rolled behind a wall, returned fire. Jace threw a smoke bomb. Lyra covered their retreat. Ilara pulled her father up. Come on. They ran through narrow tunnels. Energy blasts flew past them. Bridge, she shouted into her comms. We've got hostiles. Prepare lockdown. On the bridge, the team activated blast doors. Just as Ilara reached the elevator, the last guard blocked her way. But she didn't stop. She used her father's weight to spin, ducked low, and fired twice. The alien dropped. She reached the bridge and sealed the doors. The commander's voice came through the ship's speakers. You can't win. You're just a child. Ilara walked to the control panel. I was, she replied. Not anymore. Her father sat beside her, coughing. Can you still fly this thing? I'm better now, she said. I've got your brain. She reached the engine control, found the override code her father once told her in a bedtime story. It worked. The ship's course changed. No more suicide mission. Now it was heading to Earth. But something was wrong. One enemy ship was chasing them. Faster, stronger, with a full strike team ready to board. The commander had escaped, and he was coming for her. Ilara didn't panic. She stood slowly, eyes cold, voice steady. If he wants me, let him come. Jace asked, what are you going to do? She whispered, I'm going to end this. The alien warship appeared behind them like a shadow of death, black, silent, and massive. Ilara looked at the screen. The enemy commander was on board. He had escaped the takeover, and now he wanted one thing. Her. She stared at the monitor. He was calling. She accepted. The alien mind reader was silent for a full minute after trying to scan her brain. His hands were shaking. Her mind is protected, he whispered, like a soldier's. The commander's eyes narrowed. But she's just a child. No, the mind reader said. She's something else. Something trained and dangerous. And just 2 decks below them, Ilara was already inside the ship's security system. The next morning, 2 alien guards entered the prisoner bay. One of them held a device shaped like a dark crystal helmet. It was a neural scanner, a tool the Dravok used to read thoughts and memories. They walked straight to Ilara. You. Stand, one of them growled. She stood without fear. They led her through metal hallways to a small dark room. In the center stood a chair surrounded by machines. She looked around once, then sat down without being told. The commander entered. He watched her quietly. You will not fight this, he said. Ilara didn't answer. The mind reader placed the crystal helmet on her head. The machine turned on. Lights blinked. A low hum filled the room. Then, silence. The lights flickered. Sparks shot out from the machine. Alarms beeped. The scanner shut down. The mind reader stepped back in shock. Impossible. She blocked me. There is a wall. A trained wall. The commander stepped closer. She's only 17. How can this be? The mind reader replied, this is not a normal mind. It is trained like a warrior. Maybe stronger. Ilara looked up at the commander, calm and cold. I told you. You made a mistake. The commander growled and walked out. Back in her cell, Ilara sat quietly. Her cuffs were still on, but now they were weak. She had already cut off their energy source using the broken panel wire. She could remove them anytime. But she was waiting. Timing was everything. The other prisoners noticed something different. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She watched everything, counted every step, remembered every face. A young prisoner asked, "Why didn't the machine work on you?" Ilara looked at her. "Because I don't want them to know what I know." "What do you know?" the girl whispered. Ilara leaned closer. "How to kill them." Flashback. 2 years ago, Ilara sat in a hidden training room under their colony. Her father stood in front of her with a small energy gun. "You must learn," he said. "Earth won't save us forever. One day we'll be alone out there." "But I'm just a kid," she said. He shook his head. "You're not. Not anymore. After what they did to your mother, we can't pretend to be civilians. You have to be smarter, faster, stronger. You have to disappear and strike when no one sees you coming." Ilara held the gun with steady hands and fired at the moving target. Back in the prison ship, Ilara finished her small device. She had used a piece of wire, a metal bolt, and parts from her broken cuff. It was a signal jammer. Very weak, but just enough to blind one hallway camera for exactly 12 seconds. That was all she needed. She crawled to the back of the cell during sleep hours. The guard was doing his usual patrol. Every 45 seconds, he passed the cell. She waited. The moment the camera blinked, she slipped her cuffs off and reached through the panel to plant the jammer inside the wall. Click. Done. She returned to her seat just as the camera came back on. In the control room, a young alien technician noticed something. Camera 9 blinked. For how long? Just 12 seconds. Must be a power glitch. The commander didn't like that answer. Check the prisoner in cell 9. The girl. They sent a drone. The drone entered silently, hovered over Ilara's sleeping form, scanned her cuffs, and reported, "Still active. Still locked." The commander nodded. "Keep watching her." But Ilara wasn't really asleep. She had faked her breathing pattern. And now she knew something else. They were watching her closely, which meant they were afraid. The next day, the prisoners were given strange food cubes. Most of them didn't eat. Some cried. Some slept all day. Fear had taken over them. But Ilara walked from prisoner to prisoner. She spoke softly, telling them what to do. Stay awake. Watch the guards. Learn their steps. Why? One boy asked. They're too strong. We'll die. No, she said. We'll live. Because they think we're weak. And we're going to use that. 2 decks above, the commander was looking at her file again. No training. No military record. No implants. She's clean. She shouldn't be this dangerous. The mind reader walked in again. There's one more thing. What? She's not just blocking her memories. She's hiding something inside them. What is it? I don't know. But whatever it is, it's waking up. That night, when the ship went into sleep mode, Ilara sat alone by the wall. She opened her eyes slowly and said, just above a whisper, "Tomorrow night, I start the war." The night sky above Colony Terra 7 turned red as alien warships entered the atmosphere. Sirens screamed. People ran in panic. Explosions shook the ground. The peaceful human colony was under attack. Inside a small science lab near the edge of the city, 17-year-old Ilara Voss stood still. Her father, Dr. Marcus Voss, grabbed her hand. "Ilara, run, get to the shelter," he shouted. But before they could move, the wall behind them exploded. 3 tall alien soldiers walked in. Their armor was black, their faces hidden behind sharp metal masks. They pointed plasma rifles at them. Dr. Voss stepped in front of Ilara. "She's just a girl. Take me," he pleaded. The alien leader looked at Ilara with cold eyes. Then he raised his weapon and hit her father with a powerful electric shot. Dr. Voss fell to the ground, unconscious. Ilara didn't scream. She didn't move. Her eyes locked with the alien leaders. There was no fear in them. The leader tilted his head. He expected her to cry. She didn't. Instead, she quietly whispered, "You're making a mistake." They stunned her and dragged her away. Hours later, Ilara woke up in a dark cell aboard a prison ship. The walls were cold metal. A red light blinked above her. Her hands were tied behind her back with energy cuffs. Around her were dozens of other humans, civilians, children, a few young men. Most were crying or whispering prayers. A tall boy sat near Ilara. "They took us from different colonies," he said. "I think they're taking us to their home planet." Ilara didn't speak. She studied the walls, the lights, the guards. She was calm. Too calm for someone just captured. An alien guard noticed her silence. He walked closer and scanned her with a small device. The screen showed her age, name, and status. Civilian. No threat. The guard laughed. "Just a girl," he said in his rough alien language. He turned away. Ilara slowly moved her fingers, testing the cuffs. They hurt, but she remembered what her father once taught her. Pain is only a message. You don't have to listen to it. That night, while others slept or cried, Ilara didn't rest. She studied the guard's movement. Every 20 seconds, he looked away. She counted the time, over and over again. When the guard passed by, she moved closer to the back wall and sat near a broken floor panel. With her foot, she pushed it slightly and saw wires underneath. She smiled a little. The next morning, the alien commander walked through the prison hall. He was taller than the others, with silver marks on his armor. He stopped when he saw Ilara. "You are not afraid," he said. Ilara looked at him. "Should I be?" The commander stared at her for a long time. "You are weak. You will learn your place." She smiled softly. "And you will learn mine." Later, 2 aliens discussed her in their control room. "She is strange. Her mind is blocked." Blocked. Yes, the mind reader failed. The scan showed missing memories and strength levels above normal. Then maybe she's not just a girl. But the human database says she is no soldier, no record, just the daughter of a scientist. The other alien shook his head. Then maybe she's something new. That night, Ilara removed the panel again and reached into the wires. A tiny spark hit her fingers, but she didn't stop. Slowly, carefully, she twisted 2 wires together. The energy cuffs around her wrists flickered. A prisoner next to her gasped. "How did you?" "Shay," Ilara whispered. "Not yet." She quickly placed the panel back and hid her hands again. The cuffs still glowed, but now she could move her fingers more freely. In her mind, she replayed everything she had seen on the ship: the hallway layout, the number of guards, the location of weapons. She wasn't just planning to escape. She was planning to take over. In the guard room, one alien looked at the monitor. He noticed something strange. Ilara was sitting in a different position now. Her hands looked loose. He zoomed in. "Commander, look at this." The commander watched the screen. Ilara looked right into the camera and smiled. That same moment, inside her cell, Ilara whispered to herself, "They think I'm just a girl. Good, let them think that. They have no idea what's coming." He was right. They reached the bridge. 2 elite guards stood in the way. Faster, stronger, trained. Ilara didn't hesitate. She threw a flash grenade she made from a battery and light core. Boom. White light. She charged forward, slammed one in the knee, spun, and shot the other in the arm. The door opened. They were in. She sat in the pilot's seat. The controls were alien, but not too different. She pressed 5 keys. The engine hum changed. "Welcome," the ship said in robotic Dravok speech. She had control. Behind her, prisoners cheered. But Ilara didn't celebrate. Not yet. There was one more deck, the holding cells, and that's where they had her father. The ship now belonged to the prisoners, but Ilara wasn't smiling. She stood silently on the bridge, staring at the lower deck display. There were still life signs below. Not many. One of them matched her father's DNA code. He was alive, and he was being held in the most dangerous part of the ship, the Black Bay. Guarded, locked, and wired to explode. Ilara knew what that meant. The aliens weren't planning to keep prisoners. They were planning to erase them. "Lower deck scanners show 5 life forms," said the boy beside her. "No guards, but heavy systems around the door." Ilara stared at the screen. "It's a trap, but we're going anyway." The other humans looked at her in silence. "You don't have to come," she added. "I'm going alone if I must." The teenage boy stepped forward. "You're not going alone. You saved us. Now we help you." She nodded once, then loaded her weapon. The team moved fast. Ilara led 2 others, Chase and Lyra, down a maintenance shaft that bypassed the blocked elevators. At every corner, she checked for traps. At every hallway, she remembered her training. Stepped, stop, listen. Stepped, stop, listen. Near the Black Bay, the walls turned dark. Lights flickered. Ilara touched her earpiece. "Disable the backup alarm. We don't want the ship exploding while we're inside." Back on the bridge, a boy worked fast. "Alarm disabled. For now." She reached the final blast door. Steel, heavy, alien locked. Lyra whispered, "How do we open it?" Ilara pulled out a device she had built using the ship's own parts, with their own tech. She pressed the trigger. Boom. Not too loud, but just enough to unlock the core. Smoke filled the hallway. She rushed in. Inside the Black Bay, 5 prisoners were strapped to cold tables, weak, barely breathing. And one of them, her father. He looked older, thinner, but his eyes opened when he heard her voice. "Ilara." "Dad." She ran to him, cutting the straps with her blade. He grabbed her hand. "You're not supposed to be here." She smiled. "Neither are you." He looked around. "The ship. We'd have it," she said. "We took it back." His eyes widened. "You led them." "Yes." He stared at her in silence for a second. Then he laughed. "You really did it." Behind them, Jace freed the other prisoners. "We need to go. Fast." But Ilara was still looking at her father, something in his eyes. Something off. "Dad, what is it?" He whispered. "They were never going to take us to a prison camp. They were going to send this ship straight into a star. Destroy the evidence." Ilara sat silently against the cold wall. Everyone else was asleep. Her cuffs were off. Her eyes were open, and her voice was calm. "Tonight," she whispered, "I stop being the prisoner." She slid a sharpened metal strip from her sleeve, tied her hair back, and looked at the door. One move, one chance. The Dravok guards had no idea. Their ship was about to become a battlefield. The ship dimmed its lights at exactly 200 hours, just like every cycle. The prisoners slept. The guards took their slow, lazy patrols. After all, the humans were unarmed, scared, and weak. Except one. Ilara sat in the shadows, calm and ready. In her hand was a tool she'd made from broken parts, part wire, part food tray, part battery. She called it her sting. One touch to a guard's neck, and it would deliver 30 volts, enough to stun, not kill. She watched the hallway through the small vent slit. The guard's steps echoed. His armor clanked. Then silence. She moved. Fast. In 1 second, she slipped out of the cell through the back wall panel. In 5 seconds, she was behind the guard. In 6, the stun tool touched his neck. The guard dropped like a rock. She caught his rifle before it hit the floor. Quiet. Smooth. Now she had a weapon. She dragged the guard behind a support beam and stripped off his ID chip, She didn't need his armor. It was too big. But the chip would open doors, and she wasn't planning to leave quietly. She returned to the cell and opened it. The prisoners stared in shock. "You're free," she said, "but only if you help me." A teenage boy stepped forward. "What are we going to do?" Ilara looked at the rifle. "We're going to take this ship." 30 minutes later, they had split into 3 small groups. Ilara gave clear instructions. Team 1, distract the guards. Just enough noise. Don't fight unless you must. Team 2, follow me. We hit the control room. Team 3, find the younger kids and protect them. One boy raised his hand. "Why are you doing this? You could escape alone." Ilara looked him in the eye. "Because they killed my mother and took my father, and because nobody else is going to save us." On the upper deck, the commander got an alert. "Prisoner cell breach, Sector C2. 1 guard, unconscious." The commander stood up. "It's her," he said. "But how?" the mind reader asked. "She's not just a girl. She's a virus. And she's spreading." Ilara's team moved like shadows. She remembered everything: the camera blind spots, the patrol routes, even the sound each floor made when walked on. They reached the first security checkpoint. 2 guards. She raised the rifle. 1 shot. Non-lethal mode. The alien dropped. The other turned, but Ilara was already charging. She slammed him with the rifle butt. Down. She picked up the keycard from his belt. "Let's keep moving." In the control room, alarms began to ring. System breach detected. Manual override in prison deck. The commander stared at the screen showing camera footage of Ilara leading a group of humans, armed, organized, moving like a trained unit. "She was trained," he growled. "But by who?" The mind reader whispered, "What if she trained herself?" Back in the hallway, Ilara reached the main data port. She pulled out a small drive hidden in her boot. Her father had given it to her years ago. "If they take me," he had said, "use this." She plugged it in. The screen flickered. Human code appeared. Lines of Earth-developed hacking software. In seconds, the prison cell doors across the ship opened. Hundreds of prisoners were now free. The guards panicked. Sirens echoed. Lights flashed red. Ilara spoke through the ship's loudspeaker. "This is Ilara Voss. You took our freedom. You took our families. Now we're taking your ship." The commander slammed his fist on the console. "Find her. Kill her." But it was already too late. In every hallway, humans fought back. Some had tools. Others had weapons taken from stunned guards. For the first time in years, they weren't hiding. They were fighting. Ilara led her team toward the command bridge. "If we take the bridge, we control the ship." One of her teammates asked, "Can we fly it?" Ilara gave a half-smile. "I can." Flashback, age 12. Her father showed her a ship simulation. "It's not about knowing buttons," he said. "It's about knowing how a machine thinks. You already think like one." The commander's face filled the screen. Cold, confident. "You're just a child with a stolen ship." Ilara stepped forward. Calm, sharp. "No," she said. "I'm the girl you trained to be weak, and the one who learned to fight like a soldier." He smiled. "Let's finish it then." Ilara smiled back. "Yes, let's." The enemy ship locked on. A boarding team launched toward them in a small high-speed pod. 2 minutes until breach, Jace warned. "We have maybe 10 guards, and most of our people are injured." Ilara didn't blink. "Then we make every second count." She turned to her father. "Can you control the lower deck from here?" He nodded weakly. "Yes, but I don't have the strength to hold long." "You won't have to," she said. "Just keep the doors sealed. I'll handle the commander." Lyra looked at her. "You mean you're going to face him alone?" Ilara picked up her rifle and slung a blade onto her back. "I have to." Flashback. Her father once told her, Sometimes to protect others, you don't fight with anger. You fight with focus. She had never understood those words. Until now. The boarding pod slammed into the side of the ship. A loud metal crash echoed across the deck. Smoke. Sparks. The enemy soldiers poured in. Fast. Brutal. Trained. But Ilara's traps worked. Hidden electric wires zapped 2 down instantly. Jace tossed a firebomb. Another 2 down. Still, 5 Dravok elites remained, and behind them, the commander stepped out. Tall, heavy armor, eyes full of rage. He saw Ilara and smiled. "So, you're the leader now." "I was always the leader," she said. He pulled a massive blade from his back. "Let's see if you fight like one." The 2 charged. His blade sliced the air, missing her by inches. She rolled, fired once, hit his shoulder. He didn't stop. They crashed into the engine room, away from the others. Ilara kicked a panel and triggered a lockdown. It was now just the 2 of them. No escape. No help. Just war. "You remind me of the ones who rebelled before," he said, swinging again. Ilara ducked, slashed his leg with her own blade. "And you remind me of cowards hiding behind weapons." He growled, lunged, pinned her against the wall. "You're strong," he whispered, "but not strong enough." She smiled. Wrong again. Her knee struck his stomach. She spun behind him, grabbed the high-voltage wire, and shoved it into his back. The current shocked him. His body trembled. He dropped, but not dead. Not yet. She stood over him, panting. "This is for Earth, for my mother, for every human you hurt." He looked up, bleeding. "Then finish it." She raised her blade, then stopped. "No," she said. "You don't get to die like a soldier. You'll return to Earth, in chains." She dragged him to the holding cell and locked the door. Jace looked stunned. "You won." Ilara wiped her face. "We won." The rest of the prisoners cheered. Her father stood, weak but proud. "You've done something no army could." Ilara looked out the window as the stars shifted. "We're going home." 1 week later, Earth orbit. The stolen alien warship arrived above Earth. Military ships surrounded it. At first, they aimed their weapons. But then they received the message. "This is Ilara Voss. The ship is secure. The prisoners are free. We're coming home." Inside the command room on Earth, a general stared at the screen. "She's only 17. A scientist next to him whispered, "She may be the future." On Earth, news spread like fire. The girl who fought back. The girl who turned a prison ship into a rescue mission. The girl who refused to break. Her story became legend. But Ilara didn't want fame. She didn't give interviews. She didn't attend awards. She went back to her father and helped rebuild what the aliens had tried to destroy. 6 years later, a young girl walked up to Ilara. "I want to be strong like you." Ilara smiled gently. "Then promise me one thing." "What?" "Never let anyone tell you that you're just a girl."